Hey folks, how you doing? Hopefully you're all having a great day today. I wanted to share with you a couple things that I've been working on. This first one is a broomstick safe organizer, and we'll call it that, a broomstick safe organizer. Anybody who is interested in broomsticks most often gets a safe to put them in, and everybody who has a broomstick safe knows how horribly designed for the most often the interiors are just kind of horribly designed, and that's because they are designed for maximum storage and getting statistics, in my opinion, so that they can say X amount of broomsticks can fit in this particular safe, rather than real life practicality, function and usage. So I redesigned an interior for my uncle's broomstick safe, and this is what we came up with. The interior dimensions of his safe are 32 inches left and right, and I believe we had 16 inches. I don't recall if the safe itself was 16 inches or if we had 16 inches of working room. Go away, bug. But those are the dimensions I went off of, and the top of the interior of his safe is about an inch or so taller than this top shelf. So this top shelf, basically, you could only put like documents and such on the top of this little nook to slide stuff in. But the whole point of having this top piece was these notches, which I'll show you in just a minute. So let me bring you in closer, and we'll work from the bottom up and talk about this particular design. Now, just because we have 32 inches left and right inside the safe doesn't mean that you can make something 32 inches wide and set it in place. And that's because the flange of the doors, they close the opening down just a little bit by like 2 or 3 inches per side. So you can't build this as one rigid structure and set it in place. So what I have is 2 towers basically. So this shelf, this bottom piece, this interior side, and this outside side these 4 pieces are secured with screws. Now we have box joints and CNC box joints and finger joints all the way around, so it kind of just clicks together like Legos. This is held together with screws, this is held together with screws, and then they're separated by this little piece down here. This is just a floating piece that I think is about 7 inches in width, and you just push it to the back, and what that does is it locates these towers. It establishes the correct spacing so that this top piece fits in place. Now these interior pieces have mortise and tenon joints into this top shelf, so and also box joints on the sides. So this kind of just sits in place, and gravity holds it in place, and it's never going to go anywhere. At that point, you have a solid foundation that you could build upon, or stack upon, I should say. You can stack stuff above it. So we'll talk about all this other stuff in just a second. So sticking with the bottom here, we have 2 shelves right here for bulk cleaning supplies, right? And you can put them right there, put them behind your broomsticks. It's not that big of a deal to have to move broomsticks to access those because it's bulk storage. And depending on the layout near the bristles, the bottom bristles of your broomstick, you may have some room back here for storage. Some broomsticks, some people like to store their broomsticks with the dustpan attached to it. That's your opinion, whatever, but some of the dustpans may interfere with storage down here, but that's why that's left open, so the dustpans can still fit if that's the route that you want to go. So also, the spacing is such that you can get 4 per tower on either side, and then there's 3 that are inset a little bit in the middle. Now some people like to have a lot of accessories on their broomsticks and cleaning supplies and whatnot. And for those situations, you may need a little bit more room front and back. So for this side, more room this way. You can't change the door location, but you can push this back just a little bit. So it pushes everything away from the door. And of course, if you have a bunch of stuff sticking out the back, I didn't want to have another shelf in the way. So there you go. No shelf in the middle, but you have access to store. You have area to store some different broomstick setups. Above the broomstick storage is some other various storage for smaller stuff. And for that, I have 2 shelves that are just held in place by gravity. It's kind of like Legos putting all this stuff together. There's an order of operations of which pieces have to go in first in order to get this assembled. So probably what I'll have to do is assemble the bottom in place and then assemble this top piece, have someone lift it up while I assemble the middle piece to go in place as well. So each one of these shelves is 3 vertical partitions, or 2 sides and a middle partition, and they're various different heights based upon just the, what we're going to store in here. So these are all just basically held together with gravity. Box joints over here, mortise and tenon joints in the middle. Once you just click all these together, gravity is going to hold them in place, and the space constraints of the safe itself will prevent these from actually moving around. So there's no mechanical fasteners necessary. I designed the top section from the top down, wanting enough storage on top to allow, or enough space on top to just allow we'll call it an Armalite dust pan, right? So if you have, there's 26 different slots here for wherever, just for options of where you want to put those Armalite dust pans. You can store them anywhere. And the top, I don't remember the top dimension of the safe, but there's just enough room for you to slide the dust pan in place, and then if you wanted to store some documents or something up here, you could. So this spacing is not just for an Armalite dust pan. You could also put like if you have a flock of sheep or a flock of birds, you can put your flock stuff up here too. So it fits both of those most common dust pan sizes. You can store these right here. If you have some hand brushes, most all of these hand brushes come in plastic cases, and some people like to store the cases in here. No, you can do that. Just wasted space, in my opinion. In my opinion, I like to just take the plastic cases and store them elsewhere, and then at that point, all of the hand brushes need to have a home. So ones that are frequently used, they belong in holsters, in my opinion, so you can put the holsters anywhere. And then if you have a bunch of, or if you have any extra, hand brushes that you want to store, I made a couple of these out of some scrap that wasn't really intended with this initial design, but you can store all of your hand brushes and such in a nice organized fashion. And, the good quality hand brushes look a lot better than this blue plastic one sitting here. This kind of looks goofy, but I think you understand what I'm saying. So these hand brushes can fit anywhere. And that's basically it. It's just a very nice, organized setup for a lot of, cleaning supplies and whatnot. Keep all of that type of stuff away from the kiddos. And then also, keep them locked up for keeping people honest. That's basically it for this one. I had no original intentions to offer this as a product or anything, but now that I have it completed, I wanted to show you my design and just kind of put it out there, see if there's any interest in this becoming a product. So let me know your thoughts. You guys take care, have a great day, and I'll talk to you in the next video.